So let's start down on our back. Continue to check in over there in the chat room if there's anything else that comes to mind. Throw it over there. And then have your tennis ball around as you come down on your back. We're going to start with that tennis ball underneath one of your hips. Pick whichever side you want to do first. So both feet are down on your mat to start. And your hips are lifted up. You're rolling around on that tennis ball. Start to settle into your breath. Let any tightness in your hips and throughout the rest of your body that you're starting to notice as you settle in, let the exploration of the tightness be the thing to help you drop out of your head and into your body. Shake off the day. Big deep breaths. Give yourself permission for the next half an hour or so to just be right here on your mat with your body. As you find tightness with the tennis ball, don't be afraid to hold it. Breathe into it. Let yourself really lean into where the tightness is. You can even move that leg around. So I like to grab my knee and really rotate the hip joint around when you find a tender spot. Relax your neck, relax your jaw. Don't be afraid to move in ways that feel good. And this intense, deep tissue fascia work can be enjoyable. It's a painful kind of enjoyable. But allow yourself to explore how the movement can feel better. All right, change sides. Remember, you can hold and breathe into anything that feels like it needs to be held and breathed into. All right, get rid of that. Grab your yoga strap or your yoga strap substitute. Let's go left leg up, right leg down. Let your arms do the work with your leg. So your leg can be heavy back into itself, and you can move your leg around, exploring where the tightness is. Be really gentle. Big deep breaths. Slowly open your leg out to the side. Take your time. Keep your left hip way down. And I want you to go slow as you open out to the fullest part of the stretch. There's probably going to be some tightness just outside of center. Relax your shoulders. Keep your right hip anchored down into your mat. Slowly come back up to center, take your time. Keep your toes pulled back to your face, roll your ankle in so you're reaching through the pinky side edge of your foot. Keep your left hip reaching way down and cross your leg over your body. You do not need to go that far in order to feel this stretch. We're looking for a stretch through your IT band and outside shin. Relax your neck. Slowly come back up to center and let's change sides. Right foot up. Ooh, left leg down. All right, once you get set up, start to move into that leg, exploring the tightness. Try to let go of any gripping you might feel in your hip flexor. Hip flexor is top front of your hip. That might mean that your leg is a little lower. That's completely fine. And if you're really tight in your hamstrings, your tailbone might be tucking up, which might be pulling your other thigh off the mat. So see if you can lengthen through your hips. Reach to the outer edge of your right hip. And again, this might mean that you're working a little further down. Reach way down through your right hip, anchor your left hip down. Slowly come back up to center, pull your toes back to your face, roll your ankle in, cross your leg over. Remember, keep your hip way down. You don't need to go far to get this stretch. Come back up to center, release the strap, hug both knees into your chest, easy rock side to side. Bring your hands behind your thighs, rock yourself up. And let's go hands and knees, grab a blanket if you have one. Bring it to the middle of your mat. Once you get set up, you want wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Start to move into cat-cow. Inhale, drop your belly, reach your chest forward. Big pull back with your shoulders. Make sure your neck is long. As you exhale, press into your hands, round your spine. Tuck your tailbone, scoop your belly. And again, inhale, drop your belly, reach your chest forward. Big pull back with your shoulders. Keep your neck long. Exhale, press into your hands, round your spine. 2 more. Take it into hip circles, hips down to one heel. Bring them up and around to the other side. Hips reach down to one side, up and around to the other side. So you get a little stretch through your outer hips. And as you reach your hips back towards your heels, you can stretch your arms. So you're coming through a child's pose to get a stretch through your side waist. Get longer through your spine. And reverse. And come back up to center. Inhale, reach your right arm out and up to the side. Big stretch across the front of your chest. As you exhale, thread it underneath your left arm. We're coming down into your shoulder, but be really gentle coming into this, especially if you have any shoulder injuries or spine injuries. You want to be so gentle with this twist. If your head's not quite comfortably making it all the way down onto your mat, you could take a block to prop yourself up a little bit higher to have a little bit more space for your shoulder. So your left hand is pressing down. You want to make sure that you're not too close to your knees. You want your spine to stay long, and then you're very gently leaning back into your right shoulder unless you have an injury. If you've got neck issues, be so gentle with this. And if this doesn't feel good at all, you might take the option to go into child's pose. Slowly press yourself back up, hands and knees. Flip your hands around so your fingers are facing your knees. Make sure you go out to go around. Let's take a couple cat-cows like this. Inhale, drop your belly. Exhale, round. One more, inhale. And exhale. And slowly come back to center. Let's change sides. Inhale, reach your left arm out and up. Big stretch across the front of your chest. As you exhale, thread it underneath your right arm, come down onto your shoulders. So again, option to put a block underneath your head. Option for child's pose. And slowly press yourself back up. All right, have a seat. You can move your blanket off to one side. Let's go blanket on your left side. Grab your right ankle, pull your foot around to open your knee out to the side. Come down onto your left forearm. Bring your right arm around. So you're getting a stretch through your right quad, right hip flexor. Big circles around with your top arm. Open up across the front of your chest. Go easy if you're working with any shoulder injuries, that you're not pushing into anything that's crunchy or painful. Slowly press yourself up and let's change sides. Blanket underneath your right elbow, spin your left knee out to the side, come down onto your right forearm, pull your left arm around. So if you have any knee issues, if you feel this pulling on your knee at all, just shorten your spin out to the side. It doesn't need to be that far. And if your quads are really tight, you may need to back out of the stretch just a little bit. Big circles around with your top arm. Slowly press yourself back up. All right, so let's get into our hips a little bit more. I'm going to give you some options that are really supported in this, and then I'm going to bring it all the way down to if your hips are really open. So if your hips are really tight, you are going to want to have 1 or 2 blocks, or if you've got a big pillow around, that could work as well. So I'm going to show you with the blocks. So have your blocks next to you, crisscross your knees and spread your feet apart just a little bit. And then grab 1 or both blocks and you're going to create a little stool for yourself, a little chair for yourself to come into this. So you'll want your blocks to be underneath your hips, that as you sit up, you're getting the stretch in your hips and you feel okay everywhere else. Feel like you could hold this for a couple of minutes. So you don't have to be this high. If your hips are open, you can be down on just 1 block. The bolster is nice because it gives you a little bit more support. So you might put a couple pillows under there. If your hips are pretty open, go ahead and come all the way down, but ease yourself into this. This is a big hip opener. You want to make sure you're not sitting on your feet. So both feet are out from under you. Both sits bones are on your mat. And in fact, you can lift up your left butt cheek and really sit up on your sits bones so that you can be stacked on top of your hips. Grab your yoga strap or your towel, whatever you're using, and we're going right arm up. So I'm not mirroring you on this. This is my actual right leg and my actual right arm. You can mirror if you want to go left side first. Just make sure that the knee you have on top is the elbow that's up. So drop your top hand behind your head. And ideally, you want to bring this elbow as far behind you as you can get it without feeling any pain in your shoulders. We're not looking to injure ourselves with this stretch. Left arm is out to the side. Rotate your palm to face back, and then reach behind you and grab the other end of the strap. So if you're somebody that's really open, like when I first started doing this stretch, this pose, I was like, yeah, I can get my hands together. I'm like really curled over and it's pretty painful, but I can get my hands together. And it's just not necessary to do. So if you have any kind of shoulder tenderness, even like just sensitive shoulders, please don't feel like you have to push yourself on this. We're in this arm stretch, this shoulder opener for a minute. So you want to be able to breathe. And as you lift your chest, see if you can think about opening across your collarbone and letting that really help you find where you need to grab and where your shoulders need to be. So your left shoulder will probably want to rotate forward. Drop your hand down far enough that you can comfortably plug your left shoulder in. You don't need to be in pain in this pose. You can feel the stretch without doing damage. Keep breathing into your right tricep. And you may have forgotten we're in a hip opener as well. So soften your right hip flexor. All right. Keep your legs where they are. Just release your arms. You can hold this stretch. We're here for another minute. You can hold this stretch just sitting up, especially if your hip flexors are having a hard time relaxing. Just hold here. If your hip flexors can soften and you want to come a little further forward into the stretch, start to reach your chest forward. Keep your spine long. You bring your fingertips in front of you. Make sure you're not rounding your spine as you come into this. Press yourself back up. Release your legs, shake them out. Okay, let's set up for our final pose. I'm going to give you an option of either using your foam roller for this or your blocks. So I'll show you blocks first. Medium height at the back of your mat, tallest height behind it. You want enough space in between the blocks so that your shoulder blades can rest in that space. So guide yourself down on the blocks. Top block is for underneath your head, and you'll be here. If you want the foam roller option, you could go long ways with your hips and head. If you have a long one you're working with, and be here. If you have a short one and a block, you can go hips on the block or on the mat. You could try it without the block and just go into the chest opener. Actually, it's a big stretch, but it's kind of nice. So pick where you want to get this final chest opener. Take a few breaths to settle in. Let's go big inhale through your nose. Exhale, let it out through your mouth. Again, big inhale. And exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Let your body fully release on your blocks or your roller. Feel supported by the props.
Stay for me, my heart on your sleeve. I tread carefully, and I'll never leave. False memories make it hard to believe, but knowing my head from my tail isn't easy for me. Overflow, love comes at a cost. You'll never know how much has been lost.
Gently deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes, waking your body back up. Start to move around a little bit. Slowly roll off of your props and come on up to sit. Bring your hands to prayer in front of your chest and take an inhale. As you exhale, bow your chin to your chest, acknowledging your inner teacher. Namaste.